The excitable screams and laughter of children caught your ear, while your heart raced with excitement of your own. It was the perfect day to visit Scariff Water Park, and you wouldn't have it any other way. You were pleasantly surprised that out of all the places to enjoy a break from the hero scene, Iida was the one to choose this spot. With his strict regimen and his dedication towards hero work, it was a contradiction, to say the least. You stretched your arms above your head, basking in the sunlight that warmed you amongst the crowds that enjoyed the park. You couldn't help smiling in the heat, feeling it warm your core inside. Many days and nights in research and development didn't do wonders for your vitamin D intake, and you knew this, always making sure to keep a loose check on your health whenever the opportunity arose in the agency. You inhaled deeply, taking in the fresh air and the hint of chlorine to hit your senses, before a large summer hat plopped atop your head.
Hey!
You uttered in surprise, looking up to find Iida dressed sensibly for the day, sans for his swimming shorts.
You have to be careful,
he warned.
You haven't even put any sunscreen on.
Oh, come on, Tenya.
You sighed.
Let me enjoy a bit of sun. Being cooped up can drive someone bonkers, you know.
You pulled a big grin on your face, playfully looking up at the tall hero who sighed exasperatedly at your antics.
You are on that giant pet project of yours, which, by the way, you choose to be working on.
Oh, right. Big Blue. I hope I get to complete phase 1 in less than a week now. That's my little status report for you today.
Just thinking about your projects filled your heart to the brim with a giddiness that spilled over from the joy of being out in the sun. Tenya Iida, however, couldn't count the number of times on his digits alone about the way you responded so casually, whether in or out of the agency. For someone who held immense technical prowess and creativity in R&D, he had hoped once upon a time that you were just as serious as most others about the responsibilities that came with providing support for those on the field. Needless to say, he found quite the opposite. As the top in your field in mechanical engineering, you were a huge asset to Team Iidaton, even creating personalized prototypes to support Iida's quirk, along with many others. There were many nights of intelligent discussion, to his surprise, about your knowledge in improving the efficiency and adaptability of everyone's quirk that required it. You were equally as surprised when eventually, after many all-nighters and conversation, Iida would bring gifts to R&D, something as small as a mug of coffee to as large as a piece of equipment or parts you had been trying to obtain for weeks. You found Iida endearing during those times. Fixing his cap atop his head, Iida made his way through the crowds and into the water park with a duffel bag in tow. You trailed after him, matching your stride with his, whilst also noticing a few passerbys stare at the turbo hero, even glancing around to find awestruck children watch him with amusement and glee.
Ha! Popularity is very unbecoming of you.
You commented with a small smile, waving at some kids from afar.
It's not all about the fame alone,
he remarked, finding a spot to drop his duffel bag in the waiting area.
We have to maintain a level of decorum out in public. As a pro hero and part of Team Iidaton, we have to uphold standards that...
Iida turned to find you gone from his sights, before his jaw dropped from sheer embarrassment. There you were with a group of young kids close by, chatting up a storm, and, in his eyes, making a fool of yourself. watching the kids laugh at you.
What do you think you're doing?
Questioned Iida on approach before he spotted that playful glimmer in your eye.
Ha! Ingenium!
You called.
I'm not on duty.
These kids are fans of yours!
You interrupted without a second thought. The group of children stared at the tall hero with wonder and admiration, suddenly swarming towards him with eager smiles.
You're so cool! Can I get an autograph? I want to be at your agency when I become a hero!
The cacophony of their excited comments took Iida by surprise, his flustered responses and rigid robotic movements almost comical amongst the bright and young. You couldn't help but smirk at his reaction to the situation, finding the scene adorable. Iida, though regimental, still didn't do well with the public, especially impromptu ones such as this. Ever since you've learnt that, it was the only way to get him involved and emotive. And you pride yourself in doing that. Eventually, the parents of the children were able to calm them down long enough for Iida to offer autographs and conversation before they left to enjoy the rest of their day at the water park. With a hop and a skip, you stood by the tall hero with a cheeky smile on your face, to meet with an unimpressed look on his.
What?
You innocently asked.
They wanted to meet you in person.
An exasperated sigh escaped Iida's lips, his eyes furrowed in slight irritation to your antics.
This isn't a press conference.
He flatly reprimanded, watching you swing on your heels with an innocent grin plastered on your face. And just as swiftly as he spoke, he removed his shirt, revealing his large chest on display. After the years working for his agency, you've grown accustomed to seeing him in the buff every once in a while. For science, of course, you always thought, having to ensure his most optimal form in all aspects. Despite general knowledge of Mei Hatsume's slight obsession about his quirk, being a major driving force in the engineering field by far, you made sure every aspect of Iida's form was in top condition, from his performance driven by the condition of his muscle tone to as small as simply as breathing. Still, you couldn't stop watching that chest of his.
Besides, they're our future. They need role models to look up to. And well...
You purred in the sun while stripping down to your own swimmers yourself, indulging in the rays.
You've been so uptight lately. A little R&R relaxing on a large floaty should do the trick.
Iida fixed a pair of goggles atop his head before he turned his curious gaze on you, stretching your limbs in the air while you basked in the sun. For someone who cooped themselves inside for most of their time, he found it refreshing to see you outside. Of course, he was always careful of your well-being, making sure you were looked out for. With the track record you held on your recklessness outside of R&D, he oftentimes had to keep a loose eye on you whenever the both of you decided on a day together.
Ah, man! I can't wait to relax in the lazy river.
You announced, interrupting Iida's attention from his recollections.
I'm so glad you decided to choose this park of all places.
Iida sighed while he neatly packed the duffel bag away, watching you stretch your limbs above your head still. Even while he was in thought, you had a knack to grab his attention until his eyes moved from you towards the distance.
Me too.
He agreed, piquing your interest.
But I think we should try a little something first.
You turned to him, curious of his tone before you spotted something cheeky about his smile, while he pointed towards something behind you. "Let's go big," he commented, causing you to turn towards the tallest slide in the park. Your shoulders slumped at the sight, feeling the pit of your stomach drop shortly after.
Oh, hell no!
You exclaimed.
I'm going nowhere near that thing!
You just said we had to be role models.
Reiterated Iida, that grin on his face still present as he approached you with a confident stride.
As heroes, we're not afraid of anything.
No, heroes can have fears. We're people do what?
With a squeal, you felt Ida's large arms sweep you off your feet in one fell swoop, draping you across his shoulder. With you in his grasp, he continued to make his way towards the slide with a large gait in his step. You slapped against his chiseled back, not that it did much to deter and halt his movements.
I'm just your glorified mechanic!
You reasoned out of fear.
Put me down!
Iida simply ignored your protests, walking while many passerbys watched and stared at the sight. His smile widened while you continued on like a child.
We are all heroes.
He replied, matter-of-factly.
And we're going to prove it. Tinkerbell.
Stop